Throw away your digital watch, toss out the grandfather clock. I have for you the latest technology in time-measuring devices, and it is, of course, the birthday candle watch. Am I serious? Well, not really, but you could actually use a birthday candle to tell the time. Last time we used one of these birthday candles on a birthday cake, I noticed that it was taking about a minute to go from one pink dot to the next, and another minute to the next dot, a minute, and so on. So for this candle to burn down, it'll take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 minutes. And I could, if I wanted to, use that to measure time. Well, if you wanted to use a candle to measure time, it would probably make a lot more sense to start with a larger candle. Have a look at this one. This is the sort of candle we keep in the cupboard just in case there's an electrical blackout. And the last time I burned one of these candles all the way down, and it was during a dinner actually, it took, and I measured this with my watch, an hour to get down to that point there. Another candle from the same packet. So I can be pretty sure with this candle that it's going to take an hour to burn that distance. How can I turn it into a clock? Well, simply by measuring that distance, and I've done that, it's 180 millimetres, and then if I made marks every 3 millimetres, how long would it take to go from one division to the next? It should take about a minute for each one. Now there's a bit of a problem with this candle. It's tapered, so it may not be terribly accurate, but it could make us sort of a clock. In fact, if you get anything that's doing something regularly, you can turn it into a clock. Have a look at this. It's a piece of string tied to the ceiling, and I have a weight on the end of it. And you probably know as well as I do that this is called a pendulum. Anything hanging from the ceiling or anywhere else with a weight on the end of it is a pendulum. If you let it go, it swings out, then comes back again. Swings out and comes back again. And if you watch it carefully, it seems to be doing that fairly regularly, and you're not the first one to notice that. In fact, hundreds of years ago, a young man was sitting in a church, in a cathedral, and he looked up, maybe the sermon was boring, he looked up at the ceiling, and what do you think he saw? He saw one of the lights, chandeliers, swinging backwards and forwards. And he thought to himself, it seems to be doing that regularly. So he measured it with his pulse, and he found it was very regular indeed. The man was Galileo Galilei. This is what he really looked like. And he went on to become a famous inventor and scientist. In fact, what he noticed is that it didn't matter whether the pendulum was swinging from a distance way over there, and this one takes about 2 seconds to get there and back, or whether it started very near the center. This one still takes 2 seconds to get there and back, or if you had a brick on the end of it, it still took the same amount of time. The only way you could change the period that pendulum takes to go out there and back was to lengthen or shorten the string. Watch this. If I swing it from that position there where my fingers are holding it, now it does it much more quickly. And Galileo, in fact, used that principle to invent the world's first pendulum clock. And it looks something like this. Maybe you have a pendulum clock at home. If so, you probably know that when the clock gets too fast and you want to slow it down, what do? You slide the weight down. When it gets too slow and you want to speed it up, what you do is push the weight up. And you can actually see that this pendulum is now swinging backwards and forwards more rapidly. And so you regulate the clock with the pendulum. And you might say, well, that's got nothing to do with digital watches, has it? In a way, they are similar, because a digital watch, whether it has numbers or a combination of numbers and hands that go around, a watch of this sort has inside it a tiny little crystal which is vibrating regularly because electricity is passing through it. And those regular vibrations can be used to make numbers pulsate regularly, one after the other, or gears turn and hands go around. So in a way, a candle, a pendulum, and a digital watch are all similar. They're all using something very regular to measure time.
know